I was humiliated in front of my fiancé by my best friend. I'm not sure if I should forgive her. How should I handle this? I will do my best to keep this as brief as possible. I have a small group of people I consider my best friends, all of whom I have known my entire life. I will use fake names: Beth, Stack, and Gwen. Of the three, only Gwen is married or in a relationship. I am a bigger woman, 5 feet 3 inches and 260 pounds. I have always struggled with my weight and have had self-esteem issues for as long as I can remember. I was often told, "You have such a beautiful face. If you were smaller, I would date you." I have been in several relationships where it was obvious my boyfriends were ashamed to be seen with me. They would never hold my hand in public and never posted pictures of us together on Instagram or Facebook. My experiences on dating apps mostly consisted of being ghosted or men only wanting sex. I am embarrassed to admit that I allowed myself to be used by some of them. Eventually, I stopped responding to most messages altogether. 3 years ago, I met my fiancé, Kyle, at one of my nephew's soccer games. Kyle was the coach and approached me afterward. He asked if I was ever going to reply to his message. I was confused, and he explained that he had messaged me a week earlier in response to a question I had on my Plenty of Fish profile. That's when I remembered his message, and I felt embarrassed. I told him I had been busy, and he asked if I had any plans later that night. My sister and nephew both liked him immediately and told me so. I agreed to meet him and exchange numbers with him, even though I felt he was out of my league. Kyle is average-sized and in good shape. To this day, I do not know why he didn't walk out on me during our first date. I had convinced myself that he was only interested in sex or that he had some sort of fetish for bigger women. We met for an early dinner at a casual Mexican restaurant, and within 5 minutes I asked him, "Are you just looking for a hookup because you have a thing for fat girls?" He shook his head and told me he was interested because of things I had listed on my profile: my love of soccer, my favorite wine, the TV shows I enjoy, and the fact that my photos showed I like to travel. He carried most of the conversation and gently encouraged me to open up and ask questions. He occasionally touched my hand and tried to flirt. Somehow, he asked to see me again, and the second date went much better. I learned that he is a widower who lost his wife and their 2-month-old son in a car accident a decade earlier. He had tried dating on and off over the years, but nothing serious came of it. He worked in the same field I earned my degree in, although I had never been able to break into it. Within 3 months, we were officially boyfriend and girlfriend. My friends and family were thrilled, and his family welcomed me completely, including his former in-laws, whom he still considers family. Everyone was happy for us except Beth. When I told Beth about Kyle, she repeatedly asked if I was sure about him. She questioned whether he was just using me for sex, even though we hadn't slept together. Then it became, "Well, maybe he doesn't want to have sex with you." When I mentioned that he held my hand in public and would subtly pull me closer to him when men walked by while we were out for drinks, she suddenly claimed he was controlling. Eventually, Kyle met all 3 of my best friends, and they all liked him immediately. Beth even said he was a keeper. Kyle helped me get hired at another company in my field, starting at $70,000 plus benefits, after I declined an opportunity to work directly alongside him. I mention all of this because since Kyle entered my life, he has shown me nothing but love, affection, grace, and kindness. He has helped me work through my insecurities. I was over 300 pounds when I met him, and now I am down to 260. My initial fears of being some kind of fetish to him are gone. He has been there for me in every way I could ever want. A few days ago, we hosted a dinner with Beth, Stack, Gwen, and Gwen's husband, Mike. Kyle and Mike have become friends, and the 2 of them did all the cooking and cleaning. Everything was going well, and we were relaxing on the back porch with cocktails when Beth suddenly asked, in front of everyone, "Why do you tolerate that picture of Kyle with his dead wife and son?" I was absolutely mortified. Kyle looked upset but stayed composed. I explained that it was the only photo he had of the 3 of them together and that I would never ask him to hide it. That was his wife and his child. I told her that Kyle loved them, that he loves me, and that she was being rude. I told her she needed to call an Uber and leave. She was clearly very drunk and didn't seem willing to go. Then she completely humiliated me by bringing up a deeply painful experience from my past, something I had never told Kyle about. She said, "I bet keeping that picture up was his idea, and you went along with it just like when Jeff made you wear a pig mask and oink while he slept with you." Kyle immediately exploded. He screamed at her to get the hell out of our house. Gwen and Mike had to physically drag a now crying Beth out, with Stack following them. As soon as they left, I broke down. I kept apologizing to Kyle and telling him that if he didn't want me anymore, I would understand. All the insecurities I had worked so hard to overcome came rushing back. He held me, kissed the top of my head, and told me that nothing I had done in the past bothered him. What upset him was Beth humiliating me. He told me it was my choice whether I stayed friends with her, but he did not want to be around Beth again. He cleaned up the patio and held me until I fell asleep crying. The next day, I texted Beth and told her we needed to talk. We met for brunch, and she claimed to be embarrassed by her behavior. I told her I didn't think I could continue being her friend. She immediately blamed Kyle for our friendship ending and said he was screwed in the head for making you look at his dead wife and kid and told me not to throw away our friendship over him. I paid for my food and left. Gwen and Stack said they didn't want to be in the middle, but they agreed Beth was completely in the wrong. They told me they were happy I had found the love of my life and hoped things would return to normal someday. I told them I wouldn't be upset if they stayed friends with Beth, but I didn't want to be included if she was present. They respected that. Beth was my first friend and someone I always looked up to. She held me while I cried when my first boyfriend left me a week after I lost my virginity, because he had been dared to date me and sleep with me. Because of that history, I started wavering about whether I should give her another chance. Kyle told me he would support whatever decision I made, but he was firm that he would not be around Beth again, aside from our wedding if I chose to invite her. I am torn. She was drunk, but she still said those words, and they cut me deeply. I don't know whether to forgive her or cut her out of my life completely. Minor update: I received a text from Gwen saying that she and Mike have cut Beth out of their lives. Mike was furious over what Beth said and was angry that Gwen even considered remaining friends with her. Gwen apologized to me for that. Final update: I stayed up far too late reading and replying to comments. Thank you to everyone for the kindness and for helping me see that Beth does not truly care about me. I am hurt, sad, and angry, and honestly, I pity the woman Beth has become. Somewhere along the way, the 7-year-old Beth who stood up for me when kids made fun of me and shared her snacks with me disappeared. I will mourn the loss of that version of her. Now I am going to crawl into bed and cuddle with my man.